How do I figure out what's next in my career? How do I align my work with what truly matters to me? And the biggest question of all, can I really design a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to come at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I've seen how traditional paths can leave people burned out or boxed in. And I know there's a better way, one that invites you to let go of outdated rules and outside expectations, one that evolves and supports meaningful growth over time. Whether you're feeling stuck, craving more clarity, or ready to expand within your current role and beyond, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to explore practical, modern strategies for building a meaningful, heart-based career. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy, and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Smith, and today we are talking about something deceptively simple: the blank page. That quiet, open space at the beginning of your new in-season planner, or maybe a fresh journal, or even a new season of your career. For some of us, blank pages can feel full of possibility, and for others, they might bring up pressure or uncertainty, or that familiar thought of, quote, I should know what to do by now, unquote. And especially when it comes to our careers, blank space can feel uncomfortable because we're so used to needing answers and plans and forward motion. But what if the blank page isn't something to just rush through? What if it's actually one of the most powerful tools we have for career clarity? So in today's episode, we're exploring the quiet beauty of a blank page, why it can feel challenging, what it reveals when we let ourselves slow down, and how to use it intentionally, especially inside the in-season planner, where it can really help you listen more deeply to what this season of your career is really asking for. So wherever you're listening from, maybe with a notebook nearby, or maybe just with a pen and an open mind, take a breath, settle in, and let's talk about the blank page. And we're not talking about the metaphorical one. I want to talk about the very real one, the one staring back at you, a fresh notebook, a clean calendar that hasn't even been touched yet. And for some people, this might feel exciting, and for others, it might feel strangely heavy because when everything is open, sometimes nothing feels safe to write. You sit down with the intention to get clarity on your career, your next role, clarity on the month ahead, and suddenly your mind goes blank. Or it fills with pressure of doing the wrong thing or wasting space, or what if I still don't know what I want? So instead of beginning, you hesitate. You wait for clarity to arrive first, and the blank page stays blank. But today, I really want to share why that happens, why the blank page might actually be the most powerful career clarity tool that you are overlooking. Sometimes we tend to believe that career clarity comes from having all the answers, having certainty, having a plan, knowing exactly where we're headed next. But if you've ever thought through a career transition or even just a quiet season of questioning, you know that's rarely how career clarity actually shows up. More often, it arrives slowly, in fragments, and in feelings before words. And yet, when we open a blank page, we expect ourselves to know. We treat that page like it's asking us to perform. It's asking us to define our next chapter perfectly and to name the goal and map the path. That's a lot of pressure for a single page, especially if you're already feeling unsure. Now, here's something I've noticed in my work as an HR professional and as a career coach. The people who struggle most with blank pages are the ones who care deeply about their work. They want their careers to mean something. They're craving alignment. They don't want to rush into the wrong next step, which, by the way, there are no wrong next steps. But because of that, the blank page doesn't feel natural. It feels loaded. And in our careers, we're conditioned to fill space quickly. Silence in meetings feels uncomfortable. Pauses can be mistaken for uncertainty. Not knowing is often framed as a weakness instead of a natural part of growth. So when we're faced with the blank page, one of the few places where nothing is required of us, our nervous systems don't quite trust it. We think, what if I don't know what to write? Something must be wrong with me. But I want to challenge that. What if the opposite is actually true? What if not knowing is actually the beginning of clarity? The blank page is not asking for answers. So here's a reframe I want to offer you. The blank page is offering you space to find clarity. It's not asking you to have clarity. Unlike in a meeting or a performance review or a job application, the blank page doesn't judge your pause. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't ask you to prove anything. It certainly does not need a 5-year plan. It's just waiting. There's no pressure. It kind of feels like an exhale. So when it comes to career clarity, that kind of space is really rare, but it's incredibly valuable because clarity doesn't come from forcing answers. It comes from listening long enough for the right questions to surface. Now, I want to share a moment with you that happened recently, and this is where I didn't have all the answers, but the blank page really helped me. So when the in-season planners first arrived, my dining room turned into a shipping station, and I noticed something kind of unexpected. I was super excited for the planners to be here, and at the same time, I felt really overwhelmed and almost stuck. My mind was full of ideas, but nothing felt clear enough to act on. So instead of trying to organize my thoughts or figure it out, I decided to open up a blank page, and I personally love the notes to self pages in the planner. They have these little squares on them, and I don't know, they're just inspirational for me. And so I opened to a notes to self page. I had no agenda, no expectations. I've been super into candles lately. Jeremy got me these really skinny candles, and they have this vintage candlestick holder. So I lit one of those. I poured some tea, and I pressed play on a short 6-minute meditation that asked one simple question. And that question was, what's the best possible outcome? Then I started writing on that blank page. I didn't have any goals. I didn't have any tasks, just thoughts as they arrived. And literally, almost immediately, something shifted. Not because I suddenly had any answers, I certainly didn't, but because I finally gave myself space to hear what had been trying to come up all along. Hey there, beloved listener, it's Jen here, and I'm popping in with a quick invitation just for you. I know how hard it can be to navigate your career, especially in a world of work that's constantly changing. That's why I created The Gathering Ground. It's an insider circle for steady, heart-based support to help you grow with clarity, confidence, and community. Inside the Gathering Ground membership, you're invited to join us for weekly office hours to ask questions and stay grounded, exclusive pricing on one-on-one coaching, seasonal goal setting and reflection workshops. You'll receive a secret monthly newsletter with fresh tools and inspiration. There's a growing library of networking scripts, checklists, and career development tools designed to support you throughout your career. And best of all, a kind, generous community of professionals who just get it. So whether you're staying, shifting, or starting fresh, this is your space to be supported and stretched in the best way possible. It's just $97 to join, then $27 a month. Flexible, affordable, and no long-term commitment. To get started, head on over to flourish.careers/community and answer a few quick questions. Based on your responses, I'll send you a personalized development plan so you can begin right away with clear human support. No bots, no templates, just thoughtful guidance to move forward with confidence. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy, and healthy career. I cannot wait to see you on the inside. Now, back to the episode. And so I just started writing all the different things that I was overwhelmed about. And once I had those on the blank page, I could start to see what was going on and prioritize the next tiny step forward. And that's the thing about the blank page. It doesn't create clarity, it reveals it. And I think one of the biggest mistakes we make when we're seeking career clarity is starting with some type of goal instead of a feeling. So in that example I just shared, I was feeling overwhelmed, and that helped me just get everything out on paper. When we start with goals, they feel really loud and they come with all kinds of pressure and timelines and expectations. Feelings, on the other hand, are quieter and they're much more honest. So when you start with how you want to feel in your work, clarity begins to take shape and it's very natural. So instead of asking, what should my next role be or what company should I work for, ask yourself, how do I want my work days to feel? What kind of energy do I want to bring home at night? What feels nourishing instead of draining right now? And quite frankly, this is one of the core philosophies behind the in-season planner. It's not designed to push you into constant productivity or rigid planning. It's designed to help you feel and notice patterns and rhythms, because that's where sustainable career clarity lives. So start with those feelings, and then it's almost like you can kind of reverse engineer the plan once you have those feelings on paper. Another thing you can do is think of the blank page as a career ritual. This is where it becomes more than just a page. It's a way of checking in with yourself before making any decisions. So in that example I shared, I opened to the Notes to Self page, I lit a candle, I played a meditation. All of that became a really lovely ritual, a place to listen before you leap. So here's a version of the blank page career clarity ritual that you can try when you're using your in-season planner or any notebook that you love. First, set aside a quiet moment. You know I'm a big fan of just 5 minutes, and I recommend that this isn't a rushed moment. So not 5 minutes in between 2 meetings, not a super rushed lunch break, just enough space to signal that you're listening. Open to a blank page, light a candle, pour something warm, and write down 3 feelings you want more of in this season of your career. We're not talking about titles. We're not talking about promotions. We're not talking about outcomes, just feelings. Words like grounded, creative, spacious, confident, connected, impactful, energized. My word for 2026 is expansive. Choose just 1 or 2 to focus on. Sometimes I like to write all of the feelings down on the paper and then reread them and see which one zings or like jumps off the page at me. And that can be where I start from. Then ask yourself, what kind of work supports this feeling? What kind of work drains this feeling? And what small decisions could move me closer to this feeling? That's it. No pressure to map out a whole year, no expectation to solve anything. This is how clarity begins. It's a quiet, honest step that you can frankly do today if you really wanted to. So why does this matter? One of the things I've noticed folks struggle with the most when it comes to career clarity is that we assume it should be constant. Once we quote unquote figure it out, it stays figured out. But that's just not true in today's world of work. Careers move in seasons. There are seasons of growth, rest, recovery, seasons of questioning, seasons of quiet recalibration. And everything that I do here at Flourish Careers has been created with that truth in mind. This philosophy honors where you are instead of pushing you toward where you think you should be. And that blank page is intentional because not everything valuable can be planned in advance. Some things need the space and the time to emerge. Now, here's another thing. I believe the blank page is also a leadership skill. And this is a little bit more metaphorically, but you'll get the idea. Learning to sit with a blank page is a leadership skill in your career and in your life. It teaches you how to tolerate uncertainty, which we are all navigating in today's world of work. It teaches you how to pause before reacting, which is really what heart-based leadership is all about. And it helps you listen before deciding. In a world that rewards urgency, choosing presence is powerful. And the blank page helps you practice that in a more low stakes and compassionate way. And over time, that practice shows up everywhere else, in meetings, in decision making, and in the way that you navigate change. So if you're feeling a little unclear right now about your career, the direction, your next step, I want you to know that there is nothing wrong with you. We are in a world of change. You're not behind. You're not failing. It's likely a season that requires listening instead of pushing. And the blank page is one of the safest places to do that. So let's recap. The blank page isn't asking you to have answers. It's offering you space. Space to pause, feel, reconnect with what matters before making your next decision. Career clarity doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds very gently, quietly when you give it the space. And sometimes that space looks like a single blank page. So before we go, I'll leave you with this question. What if the blank page isn't asking you to define your future, but simply inviting you to listen to yourself again? And of course, if you'd like support creating those moments of listening, you will find them throughout the In-Season Planner. It's a 3-month, lightly guided space designed to help you reflect, reset, and move forward with intention. So whether you're using a planner, a notebook, a napkin, or a scrap of paper, the blank page is waiting for you. And it might be exactly what your next season needs. That's all for today, my friends. I'll be back next week with another episode. And as always, the detailed notes from today's episode are on the blog at flourish.careers/blog. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.